Tell me there's something better. Go ahead, try. How I Spent My Summer Vacation by Peter Benjamin Parker. I can sum it up in one glorious, hyphenated word. Spider-Man. I am the spectacular Spider-Man!
Hello everyone, thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose. I love comic books, I love talking about them, I love sharing them with you. Feel free to follow me on social media if you would like. Links are in the description below. I've also posted a link to the Marvel fan site that'll have plot synopsis and character bios for this issue. We are continuing our run of the David Stern era with John Romita Jr. from the 1980s. This is our third issue. We started with Stern, and we're gonna go all the way through The Amazing Spider-Man 1981. The Black Cat returns. Great cover, by the way. I absolutely love this cover. It's pretty cool. John Romita Jr. and Al Milgrom did the cover, in case you can't tell by the signature. And the shadow there with the cat, that is just amazing. Amazing stuff. So, great cover. My goodness. Spider-Man climbing up, the Black Cat looking at him, the detail on the alley, the shadow, everything just works. So, but the cat came back, and we're in Mitchell State Hospital in upstate New York. And you see the lightning from the storm with the face of Spider-Man. And we have, from our last issue, Fool Killer being brought into this mental hospital. Roger Stern, I think I said David Stern in the beginning, and I apologize. David Stern was the commissioner of the NBA during the 80s. Roger Stern, writer, John Romita Jr. and Jim Mooney working. Tom DeFalco was the editor of Spider-Man during this time. And Jim Shooter, rest in peace, the editor-in-chief. So these two guys are bringing the Fool Killer into the hospital, and he's talking about Spider-Man, who he just got into a fight in the previous issue. And I have a Spider-Man playlist, and here we have the Black Cat, and she says, did he say Spider-Man? And the nurse says, yeah, poor fool. Come along, Miss Hardy. And the Black Cat says, Spider-Man must have put quite a fright into him. And so she says, nah, I think he had serious problems before he ever met Spider-Man. Now come along, says the nurse. I've met Spider-Man, you know, says Black Cat. And the nurse here says, that's nice, dear. Let's stop here for a second. And she's looking a Milky Way, no Snickers. And so she's going to talk about her meeting with Spider-Man. So, she says, there's not much to tell. Before I came here, I was a burglar called the Black Cat, and I had one of my best, I was one of the best. Spider-Man crossed my path a few times. It was inevitable, I suppose. I was usually able to evade him using my bad luck tricks. But the last time we tangled, I found that he'd stuck one of his spider tracers to me as I was making my getaway. I'll put it on the bud. I couldn't get it off, and I knew it would lead him right to me. With the speed it was just a matter of time before he'd catch me. There was nothing I could do but go home and wait. And so you see Spider-Man catches it, and so he says, all right, Cat, I'm taking those artifacts you stole, and if you try to stop me. And she says, but why would I try to stop you? After all, you're the one I stole them for. I'm what? Of course, love, I did it for you. The walls of my apartment were lined up with pictures of him. I told him that I had a crush on him for years. I could tell he was surprised. He says, I know some doctors. I'd like you to talk to them, and I promise, love, I'll see that you get all the help you need. And so she continues, eventually I was brought here. Spider-Man thought I was crazy, which of course is just what I wanted him to think. And she grabs the arm here. It'd be so much it's so much easier to bide your time and escape from a hospital than from a prison. Now come along, nursey. And she pushes her into here, closes the door, and then here comes the doctor, and you can see the nurse struggling. Yeah, and sees her here, and I am a fat slob. That is funny. And so Spider-Man is swinging. He's talking about the adventure he had with the Falcon and Marvel Team Up 114. That was so cool that they did this back in the day. Kind of tie in Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man, and Marvel Team Up were both Spider-Man titles. And it was really nice that they were able to sort of incorporate, even with just a paragraph here. So anyway, there's a spotlight being shown on him. He says that spotlight suddenly winked on from out of nowhere. It can't be of any danger to me, or my spider sense would have given me a warning tingle. What's the scoop, he thinks. And so he gets there, and it's Jean DeWolf. She drives this cool car here, and so he says here in a Scottish accent or Irish accent of what he can do for her, and she says, "You can start by canning the lousy accent, Spider-Man. I've been looking all over for you. An old friend of yours broke out of Mitchell State last night, Felicia Hardy." And he says, "It appears she wasn't as crazy as we thought. She pulled a real fast one on the doctors up there. They didn't even know she was gone until this morning." And he says, "What? But I thought that is she. I mean," and so, all right. And so she goes and she says, "I figured you'd want to know." And so Spider-Man goes up his web, and that's really nice for that era. Normally it's just this little thing. Todd McFarlane really made some dramatic changes to Spider-Man. And he says, "Want to know? Oh yeah, I want to know plenty. The Black Cat had me convinced she was emotionally unbalanced and almost psychotically in love with me. I wonder how much of that was an act. I'm afraid to find out. I like the cat, if only she wasn't a burglar." And so he ponders what to do next year. I love this panel. "What a world. There's a lady out there who may or may not be wild about me. The only way to find out is to track her down. But if I find her, no matter what the answer, I'll have to turn her in." So, all right. Now, 1 week later here, nice vertical panel here. And we see the Black Cat already robbing works of arts here, and she evades the censors here, and so she's going out with her stolen artwork. And so she says, "There's just one problem with this profession. There's not enough recognition. Bradshaw's off at the opera. When he gets back, he might not even notice I've been here at first, unless I leave him a hint." Why would they do that? I know it's comic books, but I guess she wants recognition. So she throws the rock through and makes her escape. She goes down the building and sees a horse carriage and sees the driver and gives her a $100 bill. It's called a C note. C is for the Latin for cent, like century, and that means 100. And says, "Don't look back." And so she gives him a $100 bill. And so she thinks the robbery was too easy and thought that being in the hospital would have made her rusty. Then she sees not a billboard, but on a truck kind of like artwork that you can paint on the side of a truck of Spider-Man, and she wonders how he's doing here. And so, speaking of Spider-Man, there he is as he comes into his apartment here, and he's coming. Is he coming down the skylight? Yeah, he had a skylight. As much as I use it, I really ought to oil the latch on that skylight. But not tonight. I'm beat. And he says, I don't know where the black cat is hiding herself, but she's doing a very good job. I've been combing this city all week, and I have found a trace of her. All I've gotten for my trouble is tired and hungry. And then he remembers, there's no food in the place. I'll have to go out and get something. And I was supposed to do laundry tonight. I don't think I have to a clean shirt in my name. I bet the Human Torch never has problems like this, he says. And so he's at the laundromat here, but so is Felicia Hardy. She's undercover. And so Peter kind of starts making the moves, but she's not interested. He's kind of introducing himself. Look at how shelved he is. This is why people love Spider-Man, particularly during that time. But he realizes she is not paying attention to him. All right, so maybe it isn't the black cat. I thought it was the black cat. But this is the black cat over here. And so she thinks here, this is crazy, absolutely crazy. I boosted a painting which will net me at least $250,000. I should be ecstatic, she says. But I'm not. There's a problem with my profession. It's too darn solitary. And so she goes. So she debates whether or not she should go to the movies, but decides she's going to go do laundry. And she puts on a wig. And changes in here. So she goes down to the laundromat here and sees this guy here. And so he's a broker at an investment place here. So we have Peter in a laundromat and her in a laundromat. But apparently they're not in the same laundromat here. And so then she pulls out the same kind of newspaper that he was. So it looks like they are in different laundromats here. So next day here, the people are like, hey, look. And all unbelieved here. Spider-Man, meet me at our first date. So Felicia hired someone to write. What is that called? Is it skywriting? I don't know. And then Roger Stern lets us know, ironically, Peter is not looking. He's at 7:30 in the morning giving a test. So he missed. He didn't see that. But of course, as he's walking by, he hears the television who says about the message here, and they're interviewing the pilot here. Spider-Man, meet me at our first date site tonight. And of course it has to be from the black cat, he says. So that night here he goes and he gets her. His spider sense warns off that what are these called? I don't live in New York City, so whatever these things are called, they're not really balconies. They don't really have balconies in New York, but is it a fire escape or I don't know. And so anyway, he evades it here, and here's the black cat says, "Hello, sweet. I'm glad you didn't keep me waiting long." And he says, "That was pretty cute, cat, but your fire escape trap didn't slow me down for an instant." And she says, "Silly, I didn't expect it to," she says here. And so Spider-Man grabs her and she says, "I want to talk." And he says, "You'll get your chance, kitty, but I'm not letting you go until you're behind bars." And so she flings him and she goes, "I can't let that happen, love. You understand, don't you?" And he sticks to the fence here. "Cat, I don't know if I understand anything that you do. And however, I do know that you that your little judo flips won't do much good against a fella who can stick to walls. And so it looks like he flings her, and then he catches her. And don't worry, though. I won't let you fall and smear your mascara. And she thinks here, wow, as agile as I am, he's still so much better. And that jump will clear 3 stories at the very least. All right, so now they get up here and says, now you want to talk? Fine, I'm all ears. But I'm still going to be holding on tight. And she says, I don't mind that so long as you're gentle. And so, they... I love this playfulness from that era. And those are the things. So for those of you who want Peter and Mary Jane to get back together, keep in mind that these things wouldn't happen if Spider-Man was with Mary Jane. So, all right. And so she apologizes for using Spider-Man the last time they met, but she wasn't going to rot in prison the way that her dad did. And she became the Black Cat to carry on the family tradition. And Spider-Man says, that's just wonderful. The people you burgle must be overjoyed to help you get your kicks. And she says, don't be sarcastic. I never stole from anyone who couldn't afford it. And so that's still stealing, but And so anyway, she says, for instance, I boosted a wonderful painting last night. And he says, I haven't heard anything. That's because it was already hot, silly. I stole it from a Maggia crime boss. He deserved to be robbed. And so she says, I've never stopped thinking about you. Roll up that mask and give me a kiss. And he says, sorry, Cat, even if I could go along with your flaky Robin Hood act, which I can't, it wouldn't work out for us. And she says, I thought you might say that. If it will help our relationship, I'll go straight. Well, say something. I wouldn't give up my career for just any guy. I'm serious. I'll even surrender the painting. And I like this, that they're showing not just them talking, but they're giving us scenery and giving us all this. And we got this homeless guy with the dog here. Oh, breaks my heart. And so Peter says, I don't know what to say. And she says, give it a chance. We're a lot alike after all. And Spider-Man says, no, we're not. And Black Cat says, be honest with yourself. Just why do you play Spider-Man anyway? And he says, well, I have these powers and responsibility to use them. And Black Cat says, it's also a kick to be Spider-Man, isn't it? And he says, well, yeah. And she says, I rest my case. Let's call a truce and see what develops. And Spider-Man says, I can't do that, Felicia. If you're serious about going straight, you'll have to turn yourself in. And she says, oh, poo, I thought you might say that. And suddenly she's off. She takes her gloves off. And she says, sorry, jail won't look good on me. And she jumps. At first I thought she pushed him, but she jumps. And Spider-Man goes after her, but she's gone just like that. Very, very comic booky. And so she gets there. Sweets, think over my offer, seriously. I'll be at Phil Bradshaw's costume party tomorrow night at 8 at the Empire Ballroom. Meet me. XXX, the Black Cat. And so he goes to the police. She returns. Sorry. The tube where the painting was here, and he makes a swing at the captain's office here. And so it was hot, and the wolf does concur that it was stolen, and asks how'd he get it, and he says it was in an alley here. And she's like, fine, don't tell me this. And so today she says, let me give you some advice. This party is just a front for a major underworld meeting. Stay away from it. And he says, why, Captain, do I look like the kind of guy who'd crash a party? And so um, here's the costume party. I like the Hulk one here. And she says, I've been looking for you. And I don't think this is Spider-Man here. Because he looks like an out of shape guy, but she thinks it's Spider-Man, but it isn't here. And so the wife catches him and all that kind of stuff. And there he is as Jawa. And so he did come here. And so they have a dance here, and this guy's supposed to be like Stanley or whatever. And she says, I want to show you how helpful I can be to your career. He says, helpful how? Watch, she says. And so this is, I just love your party. And she's trying to think who she is. She says, almost as lovely as the lovely peasant that was the painting. He's like, what? It looks so beautiful on my wall. You just made a big mistake. And then Spider-Man, of course, grabs him here. And now they realize that it's Spider-Man. And so everybody there was caring. And he comes out here. And so they're all coming after him here. And now him and the Black Cat have a team up here. And she says, I knew this was a good idea. Now I can really relate to what you do, lover. And he thinks, I don't need this. And he says, Cat, get out of here. It isn't as easy as it looks. These goons are playing for keeps. There's no place for an amateur. And she's like, what? And so she's doing that and that. But she accidentally, when she jumps, hits Peter, setting off his spider sense here. And so now they're down. And here are all the mobsters here with guns. But Spider-Man uses the webbing here and moves them through. And Bradshaw's going to try to get away. But here are the cops waiting for him. And they even have a search warrant here. They come through. Spider-Man leaves everybody pinned, which is not... that wouldn't hold up in court. And... compliments of Spider-Man and the Black Cat. And so she's like, how about we kiss? And so he's like, oh, what the heck? And so we end the issue here, and it says, okay, who says we never give you happy endings? And if you think this is something, wait till you read next issue's story, Going Straight. So... Spider-Man and the Black Cat. So pretty cool story here. Different times, but I love the 80s. I was 8 years old when this story came out. So it probably had too much love for a guy like me. So, and then this is cool with the black with the showing the thing. So, all right. Amazing Spider-Man 226. Roger Stern, John Romita Jr., and Jim Mooney. As I mentioned in the beginning, I'm going to cover all of Roger Stern's issues. So we're gonna be doing this every month. Like and subscribe. I do thank you so much for listening. Goodbye.